and gentlemen, welcome to episode 111 of the MTB podcast, presented and hosted by Worldwide Cyclery. I am Jared.
I am Jeff.
And I'm Liam.
And in this intro, we're not going to talk about Jared's cat.
Too late, you just did.
Instead, we are going to discuss lots of new mountain bike products because it is springtime, and that's typically what happens in the mountain bike world in springtime. And listener questions. Got a lot of good ones, ranging from should I drill holes in my frame to bypass headset cable routing, swapping brake pad compounds, and everything in between.
Whew.
There's actually some really good ones in here.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Before you continue about any cat slander, there's been an overwhelming amount of feedback from the community requesting more bean content. So I just thought I'd throw that out there before we continue.
Bean Jared's
Bean
cat.
the cat. Yeah, Bean the cat.
You can plug the cat's Instagram if you like.
All right, cat's Instagram's going in the show notes if you want more bean content.
All right, make the sound of bean.
Meow. Or if she's really happy, she goes.
Do you think she would like Yeti's new bike?
Oh yeah, I think she would because she seems like more of a playful cat. 27.5 wheels kind of suits her vibe. And for if you didn't get was what Jeff was going for, he's talking about the new Yeti SB135.
The first new mountain bike product we're talking about. Yeti released a 27.5 bike, 27.5 inch wheels.
27.5.
27.5 ain't dead.
It ain't.
135 millimeters of travel in the back, and then what do they put on the front of that?
150 in
right?
normal,
Yeah.
160 in lunch ride build spec. Yeah.
Pretty sweet bike.
It's pretty
Hang
cool.
on. RAC came on, so we're picking back up. 160 mil travel up front on the lunch ride spec, 150 on normal spec.
Yep.
SB135. It gets all the frame updates that the rest of the line got earlier this year. Well, I guess that was last year.
Oh. It was.
But for model year 2023, like the new cable routing, SRAM UDH, new switch infinity, better
linkage, suspension linkage.
yeah,
updates.
better linkage and hardware.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
Yeah.
It is no doubt one of the best 27.5 bikes you could possibly buy if that is your thing.
And maybe one of the only full 27.5 bikes you can buy at this
there's
time.
a lot less of those these days.
I don't
a lot of brands have stopped making like high-end level 27.5 bikes.
I don't know if any of the big brands do. I don't think Specialized does. I don't think Trek does. They might still make a Remedy in 27.5, but that might be Mullet.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a
Well, except for the V10.
fading thing for the new bikes.
But that doesn't really.
Not full 27.5.
I think so.
No, Mullet or 2.9.
Oh.
Santa Cruz does not make a 27.5 front wheel bike. Yeah. It's wild.
Shocking.
But Yeti does.
Yeti
so if that's your
does.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking
And
about.
I actually
It's a cool
saw a comment. I'm not a big comment person, but someone said Yeti's build kits pricing is coming back down to earth. So it might be in reference to the Specialized that came out today for $12,000 without dropper post or a motor.
Yeah, I saw one that was like the Specialized making Yeti look like a steel.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, I think the smaller brands have a lot more agility when it comes to changing their pricing.
Yeah.
So when a brand such as Yeti realizes they need to change pricing because of inflation and industry conditions, they can do it quite swiftly. Whereas, those larger brands have a lot more tied up stuff going on. So
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, it's cool. Yeah, and that's not just exclusive to Yeti. There's a whole bunch of other smaller boutique mountain bike brands that have kind of been like, okay, well, a lot of this shenanigans and turmoil is over, and they're pulling pricing back to reality.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back down to earth, as some people would say.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. I like to see that. The other product, the Wolftooth Remote Pro. Yeah, so the original Wolftooth dropper post remote, man, we've talked about that a lot. I've had it on all my bikes for years.
Yeah.
I made a YouTube video on it ages ago, and it's just a really good dropper post lever, and they seem to have improved it. I just fiddled with the one on your bike, Liam. I didn't really get a chance to properly test it yet, but it looks cool, new and improved. I don't know. What do you got to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a product they didn't necessarily need to improve because it was still one of the best on the market. But
it was quite perfect as is.
it's quite perfect. But
CNC'd in the USA, smooth sealed bearing.
yeah,
I mean, it was good.
So what they did is they kind of changed the way the thumb lever mounts to the body. So instead of kind of bolting on with that kind of breakaway piece like they had before, it now kind of mounts the way the old SRAM mechanical shifters used to. and you can adjust where the lever sits. I'm going to say under the bar. Does that make sense?
Like the angle.
The angle of it, you can adjust that. I think they say 48 degrees.
Yeah, that is cool because some people do like that lever to sit further. Actually, that's one of the things you and I totally don't agree on is you like the lever to be further under the bar, and I like it to feel kind of more similar to where the shifter lever is.
Well,
so it's cool that it's adjustable now.
You like the downshift or the other shift lever, where I like it to be on the upshift or the other shift
just different
lever.
position, which is why you really liked the one up remote, and I really like that Wolftooth remote. But now the Wolftooth Remote Pro is adjustable.
And it sits basically where I want it. They also changed the way the cable routing goes, and it kind of goes over an ovalized cam, which increases leverage ratio. So now there's not a Wolftooth remote and light action remote like they had. This one basically is a light action remote, so should work with a lot more posts on the market as well, because some of them have higher leverage ratios that are needed to pull the cable or lower. So yeah, no, it's solid, and made in the USA. I think it's a $70 price point, and follows Wolftooth's right to repair, so you can buy individual parts on the website as well if you break something.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I noticed that was the first thing I noticed when I saw the packaging for those things. There's a big right to repair printed right on the side of the box for that lever, and I was like, wow, cool. So all the individual parts, and yeah, it's a dropper lever that if you happen to break it some way or another, you can buy individual parts to repair it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Good on Wolftooth.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's kind of hard to see where they could have improved that, but if they made it work better across the board with other dropper posts, I think that's the only really way they could have done that.
Yeah, and the adjustability.
Yeah, and adjustability, true.
And I think they said they're still going to make the other ones, they're just going to drop the price point on them. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's good news too.
Never hurts to have more good options for dropper post levers.
True. What else do we have? Ooh, the new CushCore. That's kind of exciting too.
CushCore Trail.
CushCore Trail.
So for those that don't know, CushCore is a tire insert. Tire inserts kind of blew up in popularity 5 years ago, 7 years ago.
Maybe even. I'd say they blew up 3 to 4.
3 to 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. And CushCore pretty much led that pack, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competitors out there now, but CushCore is still kind of the dominant one and led the pack with those things. And it was cool. I mean, it was a way, if you ever, had any issues with denting your rims when you were riding your bike, you could toss instead of putting a whole bunch of air in the tire and putting too much PSI, you could just put a CushCore in there, and then bam, all of a sudden you didn't dent your rim, didn't really add that much weight. Little cumbersome to install, but all things tires kind of are. And yeah, tire inserts definitely became really popular. And then since then, CushCore's come out with various different models, and now yet another one, the Trail.
So they have what they call the CushCore Pro, which was the original. Then they came out with the CushCore XC, which is a much more pared down version. And now sitting between the two is the CushCore Trail. But they didn't just make the sizing between the two, which they did, but they also added some more features. They added some flutes to help better channel air and sealant around, as well as, I think they call them flutes as well on the side. But essentially, I used to feel this on the Pro, and I used to actually not run the Pro for this reason, is it was so big, and I actually don't weigh that much, that I would feel the edge of the CushCore Pro when I was cornering. And it kind of gave me a weird feeling on the sidewall. So I've just been running the CushCore XC on anything I would need to insert on. Downhill bike, e-bike, even some trail bike wheels. But now the CushCore Trail, these flutes on the side are supposed to give it more flex and kind of a better sidewall feel. So it comes in in between the weight and everything. So yeah, it's a nice kind of in between option. It's probably great for most people. Yeah. Most people probably ride a little bit too much for the XC or not quite enough for the Pro. So
yeah, it might end up being CushCore overtaking their top selling product because it does have the most applicable amount of riders.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cool new good product.
Been riding one on the e-bike and haven't dented a rim.
So nice. That's good. Nice. Yeah, I think I got to try one of those. I actually have never run an insert before. Have you, Jeff?
You haven't?
No, I never have. No.
What?
Yeah.
You've definitely damaged some wheels. You seem like a pretty good candidate for them. And why not, though? That seems like something you would try.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Something about adding more weight to my tires I just haven't wanted to do. But
as he's running downhill casing tires.
I took them off. I took those off, actually. No, I have the regular
not really
EXO
a weight
Plus.
weenie.
I know.
Sounds like you're a closet weight weenie.
The CushCore XC is 100 grams, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the XC I would definitely try. Like,
Still too heavy
sure.
for me, but for someone who's not a public weight
So
weenie,
you have yet to declare if you have tried them or not,
no,
because you
I've
wouldn't, because
I've
they
never
weigh too
put
much.
them on my main bikes because
Yeah.
that exact reason. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't have an issue with denting rims at my height and weight, which is not very much, and just never really needed that solution. But a lot of people have, and inserts have gotten really popular because of it.
I think these are the ones I'll probably give a go. We'll see.
Yeah, if you're denting rims,
Well, if they're good enough for Jared to try, then
Yeah.
it's also, so aside from denting, if you're riding carbon rims and you're concerned about protecting your investment, this is the best way to do it.
I actually
Definitely.
saw someone else in the comments say like it was one of the best things they ever did to their hardtail was put CushCore in it,
I can
because
see
it
that.
helped like
Yeah.
damp
Yeah,
the ride
definitely.
much more.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that actually is an interesting
try it on
point
your
I
hardtail.
never really considered. And yeah, I would. But also part of the thing I love about it is how quick and easily it spins up because I have the bird wheels on it. And I'm like, well, then I have these light wheels to just add another 150 grams to the rotational mass. But whatever, if it actually improves the ride like that much, like people say, then it's probably worth
Yeah,
it.
because then you can run lower PSI on the back there too,
Yeah.
and not have the downsides of that.
Yeah, for sure. I already run like 20 psi front and rear, and that's pretty solid.
Yeah, if you're one of the riders who is notoriously denting or breaking rims, tire inserts absolutely should be something you consider trying. Or if you really just want to, preserve the investment of your rims,
Yeah,
tire inserts are great. And CushCore is kind of the leading brand with tire inserts.
for sure.
Speaking of tires,
Oh,
more tires. Maxxis came out with both a MaxxSpeed compound, which is different from the previous 3C MaxxSpeed.
I was going to say,
it's
didn't they have one already?
Yes. More, common theme in tires is to common theme in
how do
tires
you
is
expect anyone to figure this stuff
to
out?
confuse everyone.
They did have MaxxSpeed. I swear they did. And
yeah.
I had that.
So now it is just a single compound MaxxSpeed. I guess they used kind of some stuff they found out on the road side of things and infused it into XC tires. So the MaxxSpeed compound is now found on Icon, Recon Race, Aspen, and the new Severe Mud tire, which also came out today. So it's supposedly a claimed 25% less rolling resistance than previous. I don't know if that's previous 3C MaxxSpeed or previous
Just 3C.
dual compound.
Okay.
Because Aspen and Recon Race were only available in dual compound.
Okay.
But they claim it's 25% less rolling resistance of one of those two. And it's, super grippy and, Maxxis rubber and compound and casing that we've loved.
Most relevant
So-
for light trail bikes and XC bikes for the rider who wants the most traction and the best rolling resistance efficiencies.
Correct.
It's in like XC. I wouldn't even
that
put
is
trail
you-
in that category, honestly.
It's
I mean,
definitely
those
heavily
tires,
XC.
yeah.
Already has World Cup wins and a World Championship on that rubber.
The Severe, or
No.
oh, just that compound, yeah.
And the Severe might actually also have some World Cup wins because the XC team sponsored by Maxxis has been running that all season. The Severe is just a new mud tire where kind of the Forecaster was that, but now they bumped the Forecaster into an actual trail tire. So the Severe is the new mud tire for that. It comes in a 225, so it clears a lot of mud. Mm-hmm. And if you live in a muddy area and you race XC, might be up your alley.
Yeah. Are they still going to make the old Forecaster?
I don't know.
Two different tires, two different same tire, two different tread patterns.
I have a tip for people out there that are perplexed by the enormous amount of tires out there. Tip number one, you can't really go wrong with Maxxis. They make amazing tires, and they have a width compound tread pattern for everyone in every use case. Tip number two is we have personally put in a huge amount of effort into demystifying all these tires with various tons of YouTube videos and articles, which are worth looking at and digging into. And if you want the quickest and easiest way, on our website, on the Worldwide Cyclery website, everything is default sorted by best selling, whether you search it or you go to that category. And when it comes to tires, there's a ton of volume and data that's determining what is ranked in what order. So if you want to figure out what other people are buying, and essentially probably the most commonly used one, just go to our tires collection and choose your desired diameter and width, and the top 4 results. Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
because those top fork results are selling by far and away more than the other ones because they're the most commonly used.
Well said. But
what
that
if-
one video we did was great with that graph showing like the rolling speed.
Yeah,
and
it was the
traction.
best tire combos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the video that I think was really good. Yeah, because that went for it just kind of more explained, it didn't go over Maxxis' entire product lineup, which we've done in a different video, but our favorite tire combos video, we kind of just said, hey, these are our favorite tire combos, specifically the models and for the application, and tried to make it as clear and concise as possible.
Yeah.
So that's the video that I have sent the most people when I get Instagram DMs or various messages and they're like, what would you do for this? I'm like, hey, check out this video I made.
Hey, check out this video. Man.
Old high school friend, hey, what would you do? Just check out this video I made.
Your best friend. Hey, dude, I don't have time for this.
I would
jokes. No, I'm
definitely,
just kidding.
I would do it to any best friend.
Yeah. But I mean, you're right, like it honestly is, it depends on your situation and your trails and your bike and everything.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, exactly right. It's all situational, but also if you want to know kind of exactly what, we would do in any given situation, that's in that video specifically. Maxxis tire combos. All right, let's a couple last little things here. Suspension related, Push Industries, which is the Colorado-based suspension company. Well, for quite a long time, it was just a rear shock company. They made these incredibly high-end, extremely adjustable, custom-tuned rear shocks known as the 11.6, and now they have released a fork.
Yes.
Semi-released.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Teasing a
It's out
fork.
Yeah, I haven't seen any details.
There aren't
on
details, and they're not explaining details. So also, all these products are coming out this week because Sea Otter is this week, and it's a common trade show to kind of release products for the spring. Push has released this fork to the public with no details, saying they are not answering questions at Sea Otter.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it will be
guys.
behind glass, and no one can push or feel it.
No way.
Yes.
I wonder if there's anything inside of it. There's nothing.
Well, there's already a video of people riding it.
Oh, I know.
It works.
and they said the fork is currently in production, but who knows? But
Well, the big story here is it's an inverted fork.
yep.
We talked about inverted forks on the podcast a while back. It's obviously the only fork design that's being used on any type of motorcycle. And it's been here and there in the mountain bike world many times, but it doesn't seem as if until recently anyone has been able to really truly make an inverted fork compete when it came to how much it flexes and its cost. They can always make them perform better.
And its overall weight.
And weight too. So, but it's coming down to the wire with these inverted forks. I wouldn't be surprised if in 5 years everyone was making inverted forks for mountain bikes, because if they can get the price point and the flex and the weight all in line, then they're gonna perform better. So and it's slowly starting to happen. I've been riding that Intend fork. Intend is that super boutique, bougie component brand out of Germany, and that thing's inverted. And my God, is that a good fork?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of an unobtainium, but for most people, even us, somehow we got one. Thanks to this podcast and thanks to the cool guys at Intend. But yeah, now Push has got one, and we have no details. We have no idea how much it's going to cost or how much it weighs, but it's slowly starting to happen. Inverted forks could be very well a thing.
Yeah, it's cool to see. It's cool to see some sort of innovation, if you want to call it that, or just new product development that's not just the same old fork in a different wrapping. But it's pretty exciting, honestly. I mean, if you could imagine a bike, obviously the 11.6 is amazing, and then if they have the same level of performance with the fork, I mean, it's got
and the 11.6 is positioned unique as a rear shock because they work extensively with every bike manufacturer, frame manufacturer, to perfectly tune it for that bike's kinematics, which is pretty cool. No one else does it to that level, which is what's always set Push apart.
Right.
On top of, USA made and coil and all that stuff.
Right.
It looks like part of the uppers might be out of carbon. It's hard to tell from these photos. The crown is definitely machined alloy.
Yeah.
But it looks like there could be some carbon, so they might be getting down on weight. One thing that is not said anywhere is whether it is a coil or air, because their 11.6s are all coil.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking the same
thing.
thing.
And they make a lot of coil inserts for
It
Fox
could be a
and
hybrid.
rock shocks.
Yeah.
It could be hybrid. I would guess that it is going to be some type of hybrid coil, basically suspension with a an air chamber for the ramp up in the control.
Yeah, I was going to say, or at least like a dual chamber, like those EXT forks and like Olin's forks.
Could be that as well. So, yeah, I'm not sure, but
yeah, lots to unpack there.
It could be the innovation that the mountain bike fork market is ready for, whereas I think something the mountain bike fork market was not ready for was linkage forks.
Yeah. Well, and
such as Trust Performance, which I don't know. It's hard to say. So the story of Trust Performance, if you're curious, it's actually a really amazing story. We made a YouTube video about it. It was our first YouTube video that went over 1 million views, which is pretty cool. And man, that was a wild and interesting and cool product that performed amazingly well. But yeah, the looks were polarizing. The price was polarizing. The company eventually went out of business right around when COVID got crazy in spring of 2020. But anyways.
Yeah. I think
it was a little wild on the look side, whereas this inverted fork situation does not. I mean, cool.
These images look pretty darn good.
They do look pretty good.
I don't think Push would put out anything at this point that isn't pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Just because they've been so dialed with their 11.6 shocks,
Yeah.
So
yeah, everyone has a lot of faith in that brand and for good reason.
For sure.
They actually did tease a inverted or a linkage fork 2 or 3 years ago, maybe even a little longer. And I know after talking to people at Push for years and working with them that they've been working on a fork for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I remember hearing that as well.
Yeah, so yeah, it's cool. Cool to see.
Yeah, I think the problem with the Trust fork was that, yes, it was expensive, but it wasn't expensive enough to warrant the additional dollars. Or rather the performance wasn't good enough, like over a Fox 38 or,
what you're trying to say is that it worked 10% better, but it costed 80% more.
Not only that, but maybe it worked 10% better in some situations, but not others.
Yeah, I know, and the way it worked was
like
was
the over
debatable.
Square edge hits, like coming straight on, like but if you're like those situations you're talking about, like coming off like a manual or like you land back tire first and then like front wheel, like
that's where it would be harsh.
It was super harsh. Whereas if the Push fork, obviously it's going to be a premium price, but it might offer performance where it's justified.
But will it work better than my Intend fork?
We do not know.
Well, all the inverted fork manufacturers send us all your inverted forks, and we'll do a shootout and tell you which one works best.
That's a great idea, Liam. We should do an inverted fork shootout.
Pretty much only 2 or 3 that are legitimate at the moment.
I don't know, can you still get a Manitou Dorado, or is that what it is? The Dorado?
Yeah, but that's just a downhill fork, so it's a totally different category.
And it's like a decade old of technology, so.
Yeah.
Least but not last, the Fox Float SL, a new Weight Weenie approved cross-country rear shock from Fox, and a few other minor changes to the Fox Float rear shock lineup.
Wow.
I don't know.
Do you think that it is going to be, I guess we could probably find out.
Shockingly different?
Yeah. It's lighter.
That's where you're going.
No, that is good. I didn't even go there in my head, but I appreciate you thinking that dad joke for me. I was wondering if it's lighter than the SID shock, and if that would be enough for you to be like, oh my gosh, it's like 10 grams lighter. Do I have to change it now? Now you're thinking.
I haven't dug in deep enough to see if it's in the same size compared to the SID, the RockShox.
Because that SID Lux shock is light.
235 for the Fox Float SL.
Oh, here we go.
So my favorite bike to ride, the Revel Ranger, that I ride, I guess, just most often because I'm just doing general light trail, overall standard mountain biking. 120 mil travel in front, 115 in the back. I got the RockShox SID fork and shock on there now, and it's super lightweight and works good, and I like that. And yeah, Fox didn't really have a direct competitor.
I mean, just the DTS, but it wasn't like, once the SID Lux they came out with that, it was like, that was kind of like the best performing lightweight rear shock. Is it lighter, Liam?
As claimed weights from Fox and then a quick Google search, it is 20 grams lighter.
Wow.
The Fox is lighter than the RockShox.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but what about the what about the comparable 120 mil travel fork?
I believe
Well, that
Fox
would be
was
a
already
34 step cast.
I believe currently the 34 step cast is a little lighter than the Sid.
Oh gosh, are you gonna be able to sleep tonight?
This might be the end of the podcast. Jeff might leave right
Stuff
now.
to think about.
You might be able to
stuff to
drop
think
like
about.
100 grams off that bike, and that's
I don't honestly know if I want that bike any lighter. It's kind of already light enough.
Oh, get out of here! The weight, says the weight
It
weenie
says the weight
himself.
weenie.
Like you are like the king of the weight.
Maybe
weenies.
I make the suspension lighter and I'll change the tires up a little.
I don't know if Jeff is the king, because there's certainly like
Dude, I'm not even remotely close to the king.
I know, but
Jeff's
I like
just
to
like
think
a
that-
knight in the Wheat Weenie army.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't even say a knight. I'm a pawn. I'm a pawn on the front of the weight weenies. I'm definitely. I'm still on the side, but I'm not. I'm not
not-
a notable figure.
Yeah, you're not down the rabbit hole.
Definitely not a notable figure.
I want to know who the king is then.
Danger Holmes.
Danger
pretty
Holmes.
Oh
close,
yeah, that's true. He is the king. He is the
I'd crown him the king.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Maybe you're like the commander in chief then, or something. I don't know. Or no, that's the president.
pawn.
right? Or the general of the
just
Wayne
an
Army.
ally.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
All right, first listener question: is there a particular brand of chain lube that Jeff uses to make his hair so awesome?
Ooh, what is it?
I just don't wash my hair. It's just
All natural.
All
baby.
natural.
all natural.
I was gonna say like rock and roll because that just kind of goes with your vibe.
I would never put any type of chain lube in my hair. I don't even put
Jeff
shampoo or
Jeff
soap
doesn't
in my hair. I
put
just don't put anything in
anything
there.
in his hair
Wash it with water and go on with my life.
Wash it with water. Gosh.
or his body.
You are like hair.
Wash it with water.
Hair product company's like worst nightmare. We can't sell him anything.
I just have genetically poofy blonde hair.
Genetically perfect hair.
I wouldn't say it's perfect.
No, it's far from
But thanks,
genetically
bro.
perfect.
Yeah, right.
I would rather have cool, luscious brown locks like you, Jared.
Oh, thanks.
His hygiene is genetically
Although you have
acceptable.
to wash your hair more because
I do.
you're in a greasy Italian.
It's a double-edged sword. How about this one?
Sword.
Has any company or individual created a way to bypass headset cable routing that doesn't involve drilling holes in a brand new frame or running cables on the outside of a frame set up to not have any cable showing? I'm currently building a new common saw tempo with a RockShox Ultimate Pike. I've got
You don't have to
XX1
read this whole
axis,
question.
blah,
It's
blah,
really
blah. He wants to not use his headset cable routing.
Well, the end, he does
Oh.
say,
He wants to be able to spin the bars freely.
yeah, my buddy who's building it has had enough brake line for 1 full rotation and a quarter rotation in case of crash, wanting to do X-steps or something along those lines.
So, just for quick reference, a lot of bike brands, for God knows what reason,
Stop doing it.
Please stop. Literally everyone, like thousands of people in the comments. People, I don't know. I have no idea why.
I haven't
But-
seen a single like positive reinforcing comment about like, oh, I just
Yeah,
love
not really.
this.
No.
So they're routing the cables, mostly the rear brake cable. All the cables if you have more than that.
Yeah, shifter.
Underneath the headset,
Dropper,
underneath
dropper,
the stem in the front,
and rear
and
brake.
yeah, it's just a hassle and has a lot of downsides. And I mean, so much so that someone's asking a question of how to get around it, and it's just crazy that question's being answered.
Yeah.
Well, so it's a common saw. It's aluminum. You could drill a hole in that frame.
You
but
could.
Yeah, it's
You
a little,
will void the crap out of your
little
warranty.
crazy to do that.
Yeah. Didn't you
I've-
do that once?
I've drilled holes in Jeff's bikes
yeah.
for internal cable routing,
Drill holes in
yes.
frames.
And how do you like do it?
well, 'cause
and
back
have
in the
it-
day
have
when-
it turn out
when
like looking
things-
good.
A half day of my time.
Yeah, use a Dremel and some rubber, and it's doable.
Oh, you can actually like put. Yeah,
Well,
I guess you
I
just
would-
take grommets like from another bike.
Exactly. I would just match another internal grommet from, a Yeti or something and then just cut the hole the same size. But for this dude or gal or
we
whoever,
cannot advise that people drill holes in their frames.
I
Yes,
think,
legally,
yeah, I think one,
but we have done it.
don't drill a hole in your brand new Tempo because that is a really awesome bike besides the internal headset routing. Two, I don't really know, like, if you're trying to do bar spins or X ups, like, it might not necessarily be the correct bike for that. It's kind of like a short travel bike, but
Grab yourself a dirt jumper.
yeah. The other side is you don't really need to make your cables long because that is probably the only nice thing about internal headset routing
yeah.
is you can make your cables really short because they don't have to wrap around in a crash. They just go into your steers so they don't like
Yeah.
buy anything. And a lot of those bikes also have basically a stopper on the crown race, so you can't actually do full spins. So I know Forestall uses that, and they have a stopper, so you can go more than downhill fork, but you can't actually like get the bars even 90 degrees to the frame. You stop at maybe 75, 80 degrees.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can actually even do that.
Long story long.
That's true.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, long story long, no.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's not really a way around it, and
Or
that's just kind of where this industry is going.
And with that,
please stop doing this,
we
brands.
go cry in the
one's-
bathroom and take a short intermission.
No one's asking for this.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hello, friends. Jeff again. Just a quick note, if you're enjoying our content and want to support us, we would really appreciate it. There's a few ways you can do it. Not only shop at worldwidecyclery.com for all of your mountain bike goodies, but also there's a couple brands, one that we own outright, which is Kettle Mountain Apparel, and another one that we co-founded called Trail One Components. Kettle Mountain Apparel, we make some really good mountain bike specific pieces, as well as good adventure travel wear. Trail One Components, we are making the mountain bike parts that we have always wanted, and we're designing them ourselves with a really talented engineer. If you check out either of those brands, we would genuinely appreciate it. And if you go to their websites, so it's either ketlmtn.com or trail1.bike, use the code podcast25 and you can snag 25% off your order at either Trail One or Kettle. We'd really appreciate it. That's it. That's all. Thank you. And now back to the show.
And now, back to the show.
This next question is not really a question. Well, sort of. It says, damn it, people, stop doing blank to your bike.
One thing that I see that's somewhat questionable, and I don't know what to say if it's like a preference thing, but I see some people running, like rear specific tires in the front, like an aggressor.
Yeah, that is misleading though, because technically DHRs are
Right.
geared towards rear, but they're amazing front tires.
But you could use it as a front.
But
It's
that
like
being
front or
said, the aggressor is a rear tire and is not amazing as a front.
no, like it says rear specific on the Maxxis website. Rear tire. Mm-hmm. Jeff, is there anything you think people should stop doing to their bikes?
I think the first thing that popped into my head was I sometimes see these really nice, well-built mountain bikes. All the colors match, everything looks great, and then there's just completely obscure, unmatched, weird color pedals. Like a perfectly nice-looking stealth bike, with Kashima, and then just orange pedals. Or your highlighter yellow pedals. I don't know. I don't really like that, but that's just me.
Personal preference.
It's like my opinion, man.
It's like your opinion, man.
I'm going to go with a tech and say stop mix matching drivetrain brands.
Yeah, I don't know why people like to do that.
Like, especially
I tried this Ramano, it was so
yeah,
good.
a lot of people are on this Ramano, and I'm just like, no, like stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got another one, actually. When it's not so much a stop doing, but start. Like when I see a really nice bike, like you said, it's perfectly dialed, but then like the cables are like a rat's nest.
Yeah, that's
That takes a good mechanic, yeah.
At least a little bit of
that is
some zip ties.
That is a personal pet peeve of mine, and why I've made a major point of any bike that we build out of Worldwide has good looking cables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat cables.
I also don't like when people spend the money and time to install a clear protection kit, like a ride wrap kit or something on their frame.
Yeah.
And they just do a really poor job, and then there's those creases, and the creases get filled with dust, and then they just seem to not care. I care.
Yeah, that honestly that happens to me because I actually do put a lot of time.
Put it on correctly, or fix it if it's creased, or just don't put it on.
Yeah, that happens to me though. Like
I'm upset about it.
I get
Sorry.
those kits from Yeti, like when I on my latest bike, and I put it on. I spend a lot of time doing it, and then the corners lift up. Yeah, I guess I still did it wrong. Corners lift up. Like I probably should have used more of a heat gun and got them. But I'm just gonna have to redo it someday or something. And I always do.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But thankfully, it's not like a whole ride wrap. It's not like an Invisiframe.
It's
just
all
like
over the bike.
Yeah, it's just like on the chainstay and the seat stay. Like
in certain colors of bikes, white bikes, when there's dust underneath all the creased ride wrap, it's just so bad.
Cringe.
Ugh.
All right, well, now that we're all cringed out.
Yeah.
the
Okay.
next question.
Next question. I would like to know what character traits you look for in a chamois when designing and testing a product such as the Kettle Mountain Canyon Bibs, and what is the chamois testing protocol for this? Josh from the Trail Effect podcast.
Trail Effect. Okay, well, diversion. Trail Effect podcast, spelled AE, right?
No,
Effect?
EA.
Jiminy crickets. I messed it up the last time I talked about Josh's
in the
podcast. If you're interested in trail building and trail networks, that is an epic podcast to listen to. He interviews a bunch of trail builders and people who maintain trail networks and things like that. So with that said, Josh, to answer your question, I wish it was extremely more scientific. On the kettle side, we use an Italian-made chamois that's got 4 densities. And I don't know, there's just like little things about what makes a chamois good. One thing that I think makes a chamois good is that the padding does not go in front of your twig and berries. Does that make sense? Like you don't need padding there.
Right.
But a lot of chamois, like they just like the whole all coverage, they just put it, and then your twig and berries get all smashed up. You don't want that. So
no.
like the one we use in the kettle, you do need something there to wick moisture and sweat, because there's definitely sweat there, but you don't need padding there. You need the padding on the sit bones and maybe the taint, the gooch, some people might call it.
The taint.
The trench.
The perineum.
And then, so the one that's also used in the kettle bib has got a polyamide, like a really soft polyamide that touches your skin, which feels nice. And then all below that is a poly blend of fabric, so it wicks moisture way better. So I don't know, little things like that make a chamois good and comfortable. And I think that's why that's such a good product for kettle, and why so many people have tried it and really enjoy it. I mean, obviously the pockets on that bib and just overall design, a lot of other little things make it good. But yeah, I don't know, that makes a bib good. What do you think makes a bib good? Chamois good.
Yeah, it's 2 different questions. I mean, I think there's 2 things. One is brand new chamois kind of always feels awesome, right?
Yeah.
Unless they're like, I've ridden some chamois, I've ridden like race chamois, and they're crap. They're so thin.
Like too thin.
Yeah.
They might as well not be there.
But I also think a chamois that doesn't deteriorate super fast, and some do. And the kettle one, I mean, I still have kettle bibs from before we owned kettle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Same.
like 4 years.
Several
Yeah.
years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
They hold up.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah, like any type of cycling short or chamois bib, like you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Every time. Like if a more higher quality, well-made chamois out of good fabrics and materials lasts so much longer and just works better throughout. So
Yeah.
not something to skimp on.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, that's my favorite bib I've used. I mean, not biased at all, but
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, any of my riding friends who ride anything from, whatever other brand, they always ride kettle, and they're like, this is actually like my favorite bib.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, people are in
Yeah.
love with that thing. They're diehards. They're lifers.
Lifers.
Which also means we can't really change it.
no.
No, not too much.
If we wanted to do something, we'd have to introduce a different product. We can't like change that one because people are.
Specialized changed
It's totally
their
fine.
swap bib or their mountain bike bib, and they made it worse, and people really don't like it. So,
That also happened with a lot of their shoes too.
dude, they go so, like, sometimes they nail it on their apparel, and then they just, like, change it, and it's like, why'd you change a good thing?
Yeah.
It's so good, and now, like, no one wants it.
I know. I heard some rumblings of rumors over at Fox Racing Apparel that because they have such turnover in staff, and because they kind of are always under pressure to release new stuff and hit numbers, they just change stuff for the sake of changing it and saying, "Hey, this is new. Please buy it."
Wow.
I'm not a fan of that business strategy.
No.
I'm more a fan of make something really good, keep it in the line, always repair it for life. Like that's the strategy we put behind kettle, and yeah, it's just different. So,
Jeez.
anyways, more. I guess that's not a weight weenie question, really, right? This next one.
No,
No, not
just
really.
a bike OCD particular question.
Yeah. How about Mr. Efficiency Jeff shares a spreadsheet template where he tracks all of his bike settings and such? I bet a bunch of people would use a similar spreadsheet component and maintenance tracker.
Well, I used to maintain that sheet a lot more, and essentially all I did was I just had specifically noted down what my exact saddle height was with varying different lengths of cranks. And I had every new bike I got, I would record what suspension was on there and then what my final pressures ended up being, and I would maintain it a lot more. It was mostly just for reference for saddle height and reference of suspension. I don't know, and then other little details that I would maintain, and I would add photos to it and things like that. I did used to spend a lot more time maintaining that sheet, and I don't as much anymore because I got Liam. He's this guy here, and he's a super talented bike builder, and he kind of took over that sheet and just making sure things were dialed. And I don't know, I've tried to have less OCD these days compared to 10 years ago.
You're definitely getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Good on you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
It's good progress.
My bikes are still dialed,
Yeah.
and I still take a lot of time to set them up. But the other thing, too, is that, I don't know, I'm not fiddling with them as much. At this point, I, for the most part, know what I like and know how I like the setup to be. And, yeah, I'm not playing around and testing as much with my own bikes that I ride a lot. Yeah, I don't know. And stuff has gotten better, too. I almost feel as if, you go back 10 years and you had to really just like test like volume spacers, pressure, different seals, like all these different weird little things to get it to work the way you wanted it. But nowadays, a lot of stuff out of the box just works way better. Yeah. It's just a lot easier to set up. So bikes have come a long way in setup, convenience, and ease.
For sure.
However, I do have a suspension settings spreadsheet that I use for all my bikes, and I think I might even put Jeff's in there.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I can I guess I can figure out a way to make that in an Excel file and kind of put a link somewhere. And
yeah, we could duplicate it, make it a Google spreadsheet and share it. So
maybe I'll work on that.
It's less about the sheet and more about just the discipline to take notes.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Figure things out and then take notes and write them down in one place and know where that note is.
And make a change, one change at a time. Don't add compression, add volume spacer, and add pressure. You have to do one of those and then do a run, or multiple runs and then do one more change and do multiple runs. It's not there's a reason why there's professional World Cup riders who test for months. It's because it's not easy. Yeah. And it's a lot of little changes to get, the best setup. So
and you don't have to be that extensive and that intricate unless you're a World Cup racer, but it is helpful to write your settings down and take note of stuff and be organized with your bike setup. That certainly doesn't hurt and is a good thing for people to adopt and learn, because you can get a lot more out of your bike and your ride and fun having if your bike is dialed in and your tires have the right pressure and your suspension set up right for you and your saddle's at the right height and, the simple things in life.
Yeah. The simple things. Here's a little more of a simple question. Can I try different brake pad compounds on the same rotor without any performance issues, or should I scuff them up in between?
Scuff them up in between.
Mm-hmm.
More detail. Scuff them up with what and how, please?
Okay.
I mean, someone's going to take a bunch of greasy steel wool to their rotors if you don't explain.
Recycled steel.
I personally use drywall screen. I like the... what would you call it? The roughness of it. It also has kind of
coarseness.
The coarseness. It also has
grit. Ooh,
jinx. All right. It also has holes, so material can fall through it. You can use a very coarse sandpaper as well, 80, 100 grit roughly. But I like the drywall screen. And then always clean them with alcohol. Never put alcohol directly on any brake part. I always put it on a lint-free rag and then wipe down the rotor after I do that. So you can change pad compounds. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I try to stay one pad compound on one rotor, and if I have a need to change, then I'll change the rotor. Yeah. It's probably not reasonable for most people, but I don't really change pad compound.
No.
Yeah.
Usually just metallic.
Yeah, I just kind of run metallics on everything.
Yeah.
We've got a pretty dialed in article and YouTube video about metallic and organic and pros and cons and where they work differently. But I don't know. Unless you're having, issues with the compound you currently have and what came with the brakes, I don't know, then you probably don't need to change.
Yep.
True that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of change, Love the podcast, guys. Always wondered what the RockShox Lyric fork was named after. Liam's got to know this one. Also, Contis are hard to find in the casing size compound I'd like. Any thoughts, recommendations on a Vittoria setup along the lines of Cryptotol front and Xylitol rear for aggressive trail riding?
Well, that's 2 questions.
That is 2 questions. That's a 2-parter.
2-parter.
So first part, Liam, you got to know what the Lyric is named after.
I do not know, and I don't know if RockShox knows. The Pike and the Zeb are both named after Zebulon Pike,
the explorer, who explored a lot of stuff around Pikes Peak, which is where RockShox suspension headquarters is based in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Yes.
The Lyric, I'm not sure. There's not really any info on it. Jared said he did some research and found some marketing punchline about it. And
I think they just like music over there.
Yeah.
You know?
And then very lyrical.
Yeah.
And then also the Sid. I don't know where the Sid's from either. So not sure about that. I'm not sure if it really matters. Because the Lyric's a great fork and I have one on my Rail 29. Second one, we are working on getting more Contis. So that's the first part of that. Because they're those Cryptotol.
And it is happening. Those
Xylitol.
Continental mountain bike tires have been blowing up in popularity, and they are starting to become more readily available in the various different sizes, casing compounds, etc. And then more little variations of that are becoming available too, and we're kind of constantly getting stock and new listings posted to the site.
So we're working on that. Victoria, I'm not really sure. What's the... I don't really know the Victoria line.
They have
Victoria's I don't even know the last time I saw one of those was when I went to Sea Otter 3 years ago. They're super, super unknown, unused, rarely used in the U.S. I mean, I think they are a big brand in Europe. But
hey, Jared, was that a email question?
Yes.
We'll get back to you in email.
Yeah.
We suck at both these answers. Why did we put this question in here? We don't have an answer for either.
We knew Victoria tires, I guess. The Mazda looks good.
I think the Mazda is kind of like...
And the Mota?
Yeah.
Mazda and Mota, probably.
I think those are kind of the two aggressive, more
Motas
aggressive
is
ones.
for wet terrain. Martellos is for mixed terrain.
Yeah.
Looks like the most aggressive ones for mixed terrain would be Mazda and Martello. So Martello, I don't know.
Gotcha.
There you go. But yeah, we will do a little more research. Get back to you on that one, I guess.
Whoops.
This question is of great importance. How long will it be until we have dedicated compartments for food on bikes? On a real note, I think that a small sealed compartment for goo or gummies in the top tube by the headset would be amazing for longer rides and stuff. I've tried the burrito and the down tube, and I'm still cleaning out rice from my frame. I love your stuff, and I'm going to be joining the B team this season. My friend Beck is on it, and he loves it.
You will fit right in with the B team, sir.
The B team is a amateur enduro race team on the East Coast that we sponsor. A good friend of mine runs it. It's a bunch of goofballs that race bikes and have fun and have a great time. And there's not much more to say.
I wish I was on the B team.
Check them out. Google it.
You think they'd let me on?
They would love to have you on.
That'd be awesome.
But you'd have to do races and go there. And
they've begged for us to come out.
Fly to the East Coast to do their races.
They've begged for us to come out to do an enduro race with them.
If you do any enduro racing on the East Coast, you're not going to miss the B team.
Well, we'll have to do it one of these days.
Well,
shout out to the B team.
Answer this question. On a mountain bike, it's hard. On a road bike, they make little baggies you pop on there.
Yeah, like a top tube bag.
Food, yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could get like a strap-on top tube bag. It's not going to look very good, but I mean...
Sounds like this gentleman just needs to buy a bib that's got rear pockets so he can put his stuff in.
I know who makes one.
Or just any pockets.
Yeah. Or like
I will say,
stick them, right?
Or when I was racing XC, I used to electrical tape a goo to my top tube, and then I just rip it off, and it would already be opened.
Really?
As I rip it. Yeah. Well, that's
you like tape it to the thing that you...
top part.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Full racer status. Yeah.
Gosh.
So you could do that, dude. Or I don't know. Maybe just use a Ziploc to put your burrito in the Ziploc and then in your down tube compartment, and rice won't go everywhere.
Yeah, or put your snacks in there. But if you're trying to like keep riding and eat, like
If you've got a bunch of rice around your spindle and bottom bracket right now on the inside of your frame, you're a perfect fit for the B team.
maybe even some beans.
Have you seen Uno's in frame situation? Like their whole compartment inside the frame. That's all like a leather bag sealed. That's nice.
It's leather.
I mean, it's probably not real leather.
Probably
It's
leather,
probably
but
leather, but it looks really cool and well
Yeah.
done, and it would prevent rice from falling out and everything.
They haven't made it some like designer Spanish.
I actually like the idea of, kind of in that lower part of the frame and underneath the water bottle where you can store stuff inside of there, mostly for tools and whatnot, since you don't use those as often.
Definitely.
Nutrition and stuff, I'm just always going to keep in my bib pockets or something if I need
I
it.
did actually get a Evoc frame bag
Yeah.
that I'm going to run this summer on the trips. So I can get less stuff off my back, and that will be able to fit probably like a spare tube and tool and like a sandwich and some gummies and stuff.
Yeah.
And that I'll be able to reach while riding. It's a little frame bag that has a little zipper,
Yeah.
Where does it go on the frame?
like it wedged up and kind of right behind the head tube junction. It looks really clean. And the one I got, I don't know what size I got. I think I got a small one, but it fits really well on both my Rail 29 and my SB120. So
Nice.
Nice.
it'll be
Nice.
sweet.
Yeah, it's
That's
definitely
pretty sweet.
a good solution to it.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different little bags and things you can get. Some more aesthetically pleasing than others. I mean, I would probably just put another burrito on the down tube, man. You've already committed once. Just keep on doing it.
Stuff in the burritos.
Or maybe a
Grab a
PB&J.
Ziploc.
Yeah.
Grab a
Something
Ziploc.
like that. This last one's more of a comment than
Is
a,
this a PSA?
question. This was regarding our last podcast where we were super confused regarding the naming convention for the Continental tires.
Yeah, so Continental tires, which we were joking about, sound like prescription drugs, xylitol, argitol, cryptotol. We asked if there was any German listeners, since Continental's a German company, that might have some more context around maybe if those names mean anything or have some importance in the German language. And here we go.
Here we go. Regarding your call in last podcast for German speakers to explain the word naming convention of Continental tires, it makes no sense to me either. The word tall means valley. I thought that might be the key to cracking the code, but no, I don't understand why they didn't just expand their cross mountain race Trail King range of names like the Dirt King or whatever. As a side note, the pharmaceutical range of names isn't even the strangest name in their lineup. The Continental Kaiser is actually a thing. It does make me wonder about the finer details of Continental's strategic plan for world domination. Also, you're still saying Schwalbe wrong.
Schwable.
So everybody in Germany says that we say Schwalbe wrong. I say, no, we're not. We're saying it the way you say it in American English. So
Schwable. I don't know.
However,
It's probably
though,
supposed to say Schwable.
we might be on something with the tall means valley, because you do ride bikes kind of like from the top of a mountain into a valley.
Yeah. Like that makes sense. Well, it's funny actually.
Crypto, Argo, how does that make? What does this
Hey,
fit in
I'm
here?
I'm not there yet. I said we might be onto something. A detective got a little cookie,
little
and I'm
sniff.
following the trail.
Right.
Okay.
The crumb trail.
If those names don't make sense to a German speaker, then they're just
They made them up.
they threw stuff at the wall for those.
They just,
They threw stuff at the wall.
good
also,
Tires,
like-
strange names.
I had a buddy that just like
That
spent
could be the
months
slogan.
trying to find like a cool word that didn't mean anything, and he did, and then that's now his Instagram name. Like Google result, nothing came up.
Whoa.
Cool.
So maybe that's what they did. Maybe they
Yeah.
wanted cryptotol, xylitol, argitol.
Yeah, they wanted something so unique that nothing would come up when they
Yeah.
Googled it. It's pretty funny though. I looked up, like what the Kaiser meant, and then it's like the German Austrian emperor, like back in the day.
That's why it says it.
Well,
makes
yeah,
me
that's
think
why I
of
said
their
that. So
strategic plan.
Yeah, so it actually totally makes sense that Continental is going to take over the
Well,
world.
if you, it probably meant more the German emperor. Maybe it's like the emperor of the trail.
Oh, yes. Well, they had like the Der Kaiser, right?
If
Whatever.
you Google define Kaiser, that's
Yeah.
the first definition is historical, which is the
Right.
German emperor, the emperor of Austria, etc. And then the second one is North American, a round, soft bread roll with a crisp crust
Kaiser roll.
made by. Maybe that's what they were talking about.
I think you're talking about bread.
Yeah, they were
But a
talking
German
about
company.
bread.
Oh, it didn't actually mean the emperor.
Well, I love bread, so
yeah. Man, funny. But yeah, we love it when people, reach out to us about stuff that we've
thank you for that comment. It is honestly awesome that we can mention something such as, hey, it would be nice if a German speaker could get back to us about the name of these new Continental tires. And what do you know? Bam, we got that information. So thank you.
Well, I'll go grill Continental more at Sea Otter.
Yeah.
See what's up.
That's a good idea.
What's up with your name?
But you can't ask any of the American staff. Like, they're not going to have any real answers.
No, they had some Germans last year, and I did tell them right away. I was like, these names are ridiculous, dude. And he looked at me straight face, like, what are you talking about?
You're like, yeah, what happened here, guys? So good. Speaking of reaching out, or like people reaching out and mentioning stuff in previous podcasts, someone did reach out a little while ago after we mentioned the, oh my gosh, the people in Pennsylvania.
The Amish.
The Amish, yes. We were speaking about the Amish. No, someone reached out because they actually went to an Amish bike shop, in the area, and they had like a wheel built there, and they said they do great work. And I wish I remember the name of the bike shop.
Shirks.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So they said
I know exactly where it is.
Amish
It's
shop,
literally a famous. I mean, if you ride mountain bikes in Pennsylvania or road bikes, like about Shirks. It's a big shop. It's in total Amish country. It's 20 minutes away from any type of normal civilization, and it's full blown. Like, you go in there, there's all these Amish guys. They I have a lot of funny stories about Shirks. Because when I lived in Pennsylvania in 2009 with Nico and Logan Mullally racing bikes out there, we went to Shirks a few times for various things, and they would build wheels and rebuild forks for unbelievable prices.
Wow.
Because there's a lot of other weird economic things going on behind the scenes at Shirks, I suspect and assume, such as it's like they're not funded by the bishop, or these guys don't. I don't know. It's
perhaps slave labor.
No,
I'm just kidding. No.
It seems weird because there's way too many people on staff.
Really?
Yeah. It's very strange, the whole situation. But it's a legit shop. It's totally disorganized, but they're a Trek dealer. Like, it's a real thing.
Wow.
Sell a bunch of bikes. You can get wheels built there. I mean, people in Pennsylvania will drive an hour just to have their fork rebuilt there, and you don't even have to make an appointment for that. They'll just do it on the spot because they got like 6 guys just sitting there.
Wow. That's amazing.
Charge you $20.
No way.
It's unbelievable.
That's rad.
That was a decade ago, so it's up to $28.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
That is so cool.
No, it is really unique and unusual. Yeah, it's called Shirks. It's a full-blown Amish bike shop. But they have, I think, some Mennonite staff or New Order Amish, because some people do either use a phone there, but some of the staff doesn't use the internet.
Wow.
It's strange.
But
fascinating. That's got to be the one.
Equally strange and fascinating.
Yeah.
So, nonetheless, I'm glad no one was offended by us talking about Amish mountain bikes.
No, nobody was offended. People just reach out and be like, actually, Amish people do ride bikes. One guy actually sent us a video of an Amish guy riding like one of the scooters at Camp Woodward. That was pretty cool. I don't know if you've ever seen that video.
No, I've never seen that.
Was it real, or was it one of those like Instagram pages?
Debatable.
Yeah, was it like one of those? What's that famous Instagram
Extreme
page?
Mormons?
Extreme Mormons.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how real those guys are.
I don't think those are.
It had Extreme Mormon kind of vibes to it.
Gotcha.
It was pretty funny though. The guy was riding this big wheeled scooter in the skate park, and it was funny.
I do love the amount of funny things on the internet.
Yes.
Extreme Mormons is one of them.
Yeah,
good Instagram follow.
And those guys actually know how to like ride, like and skate. Some of them do. They're actually
and
good.
just take risks.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it's like UGC. I don't think it's like 2 guys that do everything. It's always new guys.
Yeah, I think there's just like a collective. Yeah, but they're definitely entertaining.
Yeah, there's some good funny stuff on the interwebs.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for listening thus far. We genuinely appreciate it. If you want to know every time we release a new podcast and or new YouTube video or any other type of useful mountain bike content, our email list, you can subscribe to that. If you just hit the Worldwide Cyclery website, you'll see a pop-up of Jared in a shower with his bike, and it says, do you want epic mountain bike content delivered to your inbox? If you don't see that pop up, just scroll to the very bottom of the site, type in your email there. You'll get notified every time we release good stuff. And we pretty much, I would say 98% of the time, just send good mountain bike useful content.
Oh, yeah.
2% of the time, we're like, hey, here's some product recommendations.
Or, hey, we're having a 6 sale. That fork you've been looking at is way cheaper now.
Yeah, which we don't do very often. I think everyone in the whole company, like, personally despises essentially all of our competitors and most people in the online sales game of any kind that are just blasting out, hey, buy this, hey, look at this, hey, do that. Like, there's none of it's valuable. So we put a lot of pride in making sure we have valuable content, just like this podcast and our YouTube videos, and you can get all of that via your inbox via email.
Today.
Yes.
Sign up now.
Sign up now.
Get a free gift. Not really, though. The gift of us.
Speaking of free gifts, if you do leave us a review on Apple or Spotify podcasts, we really appreciate that. If you screenshot that review and you send it to
podcast@worldwidecyclery.com,
Jared will reply to you and say, Smoochies, here is a $15 off code to the Worldwide Cycler website so you can get something cool.
Should send them all a video.
Oh, smoochies. Thanks, baby. Yes.
All right, with that, let's get out of here.
Yep.
Yes, thank you to everyone.
See you guys.
Thank you very much. See you
Love
next
ya.
time.
Cheerio.